Welcome to the Painter Marketing Mastermind podcast, a show created to help painting company owners build a thriving painting business that does well over $1 million in annual revenue. I'm your host, Brandon Pierpont, founder of Painter Marketing Pros and creator of the popular PCA educational series, Learn, Do, Grow, Marketing for Painters. In each episode, I'll be sharing proven tips, strategies, and processes from leading experts in the industry on how they found success in their painting business. We will be interviewing owners of the most successful painting companies in North America and learning from their experiences. What is going on, everyone? You have Brandon Pierpont here, Painter Marketing Pros, live with Jason Paris. Jason Paris is the founder and co-owner of Paris Painting Olive Holdings. He is currently the chair of the board of directors of the PCA. And then we have Maggie Kuiper. It is not Cooper. Don't ever call it Cooper. Her name is Kuiper, and she is the co-owner with her husband, Matt, of Harpeth Painting. Guys, thank you for joining. Maggie is also the co-chair of the PCA Expo Education Committee, which means if you like Expo this year, if you like 2023 Expo, she did a great job. If you don't,
it was my co-chair.
Then it was the co-chair. Yeah, we'll leave the co-chair is not here to defend him or herself. So, guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
The purpose of this is the PCA and Painter Marketing Pros are running essentially a game plan session. So this will be part one of two. It's a two-part series. One of the great things, obviously, about Expo is how much opportunity is there, right? One of the I guess, potential drawbacks that can come from that opportunity is not really always knowing how to navigate it and sometimes having to make sacrifices. A lot of events will occur at the same time. It is a jam-packed few days. So we're going to unpack everything to expect at this year's Expo, talk about last year and previous year Expos, how this one might be different, and really how you can best navigate it if you are new to Expo or even if you're a veteran attendee, what you can do to make this the most impactful year yet for your painting company. So I want to start with Jason. Jason, tell us a little bit about the background of Expo. How many years has it been going on? How many attendees usually come? Let's hear about this thing.
It's been going on for a long, long time, Brandon. I don't know the answer to that. For a long time, since before you were born, before I was born, before the electric typewriter, back when there was just mechanical typewriters, before
it's a long time.
Membrane-based typewriters or the such. So it's been around a long time. I mean, the PCA is very, very old. How many people come? A lot. I'll just tell you, it's a very, very high number. It could be as high as 1,000 if you round up.
We have Nick. Welcome.
Thank goodness.
Nick was keeping us on the edge of our seat there. We didn't know whether he was coming. Nick Slavic, owner of Nick Slavic Painting and Restoration, host of Ask a Painter Live. Thanks for joining, brother.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Jason was just giving us a very detailed and specific background of PCA Expo.
Yeah. Who cares? Very long time. It has been, I think what is relevant, it has been the event, the big tent event for at least the last decade. For sure the last 5 years since I started going. No, it's also for the attendees. I think we're around 800 give or take last time. So I always say 1,000 because you round up, and it's a significant number. Four probably six significant figures if you go to the hundreds.
You've already lost me, Jason. A lot of people. We'll call it close to 1,000 people are probably going to come.
Yeah, I'll just say you don't want to miss out. Maggie, early numbers are showing a big rise over last year's year-to-date trend. So we set records last year with attendees. We're looking to grow. I mean, the metrics are showing growth this year over that. So you don't want to be the one that misses out. It's the big tent event of the entire year. Kind of sets the tone for everyone.
So let's kind of go through some of the major events. And I know we have a new one. I think it maybe occurred a few years ago, but we have a new thing going on this year. What are the main highlights or what are happening, for example, breakout sessions, things like that? Maybe Nick or Maggie, you've been really putting this whole thing together. Whether it's good or not, it's really based on you and how good of a job you did. So we'll see. But maybe you can run us through the highlights and what people can expect.
For the schedule? Yeah.
For the schedule. Yeah. What are the core components of this thing?
Yeah. So there's a handful of different ways that we impart all the awesome information at Expo on the attendees. There's large group sessions where everyone gets in the big room. We have a speaker, we get together, we talk about the big things going on with PCA. We have breakout sessions, which occur multiple times throughout the week, and they're topic specific. Some of the breakout sessions are panel, some of the breakout sessions are a single speaker. And so those happen a lot. There's a lot of breakouts. We also have what are called brain melds, brain dump and conversation, brain meld. We're not quite sure what the word is, but those are small. We call it education speed dating. So it's like small little tables where you will sit at a table, talk for 10 minutes about a topic, and then you move to the next table. And they're all very focused and specific. So you can go to the table that you want. And then we have social events. Those are always great. Everybody loves them. And then there's a lot of food. So those are kind of the big components.
And alcohol. There's lots of alcohol.
I said social gatherings. I mean, yeah.
The Sherwin-Williams event, lots and lots of alcohol. Nick, do you have anything to add or anything you're specifically excited about for this year's Expo?
Yeah, I'm a teetotaler, so I don't partake in all the alcohol. You know, my body is a temple. It can be a playground for other people, but no, it is the education. Like, and so you would say, you know, the biggest thing nowadays is, you know, virtual work, things like this. Why don't we just do a big virtual thing, right? And what we do now know, what has been driven home over the last bunch of years, is you do miss something when you're not standing in the same room as somebody. And the Expo has always been that, and it only has become more important because of what we just went through the last 3 years. Like, now we know exactly what we're missing and the true value of something like this. Getting in a room with 600, 700 people, at least as good as you, most likely better than you, doing and talking about the things you like.
Yeah. Networking is really key. I know some people have talked about how Expo changed their life, right? So I know Illusions Painting, Juan Vasquez has talked a lot about how they came here, him and his business partner in 2018, and he felt too small to be there, right? That was I think that's one of the blocks, the mental barriers people have, is they think they don't belong there because they're not at $1 million or they're not at 500,000. So they can't possibly be there, but you are big enough to be there. It's really not that expensive when you think about the future of your business.
I always say, who cares how much it costs? I mean, you got to spend money to make money, first of all. Second of all, this is what you call a balance sheet activity, not a P&L statement. So that should work out just fine.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone in the universe is saying that any expo they've ever been to was a waste of money.
Yeah, I've never heard.
Universally, like, and it becomes almost absurd to some point where you talk to somebody and they're like, hey, I just bought a Ford Super Duty truck and I bought a $6,500 sprayer, but I sure as heck's not going to spend $1,000 and go to that expo, when really, you know, that you're investing in yourself in that. And it's really one of the smallest dollars amount of things you're going to invest into something in your business over the course of a year.
It's actually getting cheaper every year if you think about it with inflation.
Mm-hmm. So. You're right.
Yeah, so a lot of people are commenting. So as a reminder, guys, this is a roundtable. So if you have questions specifically that you want to get addressed from the horse's mouth, so to speak, ask your question. Someone asked when and where. So it's in Albuquerque, New Mexico, February 22nd to 24th. That being said, there is also a Paint It Forward event on February 21st. So it's a charitable event. It started with All Bright Painting out in California, and it is where they go in and essentially pro bono paint some nonprofit or something that does good for the community, local community, and assist. This year, we will be painting the iconic lobby of the Gibson Medical Hub. So it's an old hospital. It's being refurbished into a medical center in Albuquerque to help combat homelessness. So if you are coming, you want to contribute to that, that'd be a great cause. Also, Painter Marketing Pros will help you create social media logo and marketing for that, if you want to put that up for your painting company, if you do attend. So reach out to us and we will help you with that because it is a good cause. Also, Ariel just put up in the comments, make sure you give StreamYard access to your Facebook so you can actually have your questions seen. and we can know who you are. So you just go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. You can actually put your name there and it won't be just Facebook user. We'll answer your question if it's Facebook user, but we won't know who you are. Jason, someone asked about balance sheet activity because they have no idea what you're talking about.
Then they need to go to Expo.
You can go to Expo, long and short of it. It's this is how I always clash with my CFO, with our and his name is Eric. And I just tell him that. So balance sheet activity would be like an investment, right? If you buy a building, on paper, you could lose money that year because you had cash out, but you really made an investment that's going to, carry some collateral forward. So profit and loss would be like, how much money did the business make, right? But balance sheet, that's, who cares? You got to spend money to make money, right? Don't ask any follow-up questions on that. Just believe it, okay?
I feel like any hateful comments or feedback
If you have mean to say, just tweet them at me. That's where I prefer to receive all my hate on Twitter. So just please tweet your mean stuff there.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a great point. Obviously, you do have to factor in finances. You don't want to come and be homeless. You're sleeping outside the PCA Convention Center because you lost all your money. But in terms of the ROI, return on investment, it's just not going to get higher than that. If you're willing to invest $1,000 or $2,000 into Facebook ads and flyers, invest that into coming here because it's going to go a whole lot farther for you.
Yeah. Don't hire a marketing company to do.
Never. Just go to Expo.
Choose between one or the other.
Just go to Expo.
Go to Expo.
Yeah, 100%. So Brandon Whiteshires asked, Expo's 22nd to 24th. What day and time should we fly in and fly out to not miss anything? Come in on the 21st. Yep. If you're not going to do Paying It Forward, if you are going to do Paying It Forward, probably the evening of the 20th. But come in 21st, you can register and get your little swag bag and everything like that. And then things will start pretty early on the 22nd.
Yeah.
So, sorry. Note from somebody who's been there. On the day that there's actually activities, be there the night before. And on the day that the award ceremony is and we close up, stay that night. Because there are so many people that on that last day, they're like, oh my God, I want to have all these conversations with everybody now that I'm settled in. And guess what? I got to get on a plane. So what I normally do is fly in the day previous, get all set in the hotel. Magically, there's a whole bunch of people standing around the lobby and the lounge and you talk with them. And then that Friday night, stay again and leave Saturday morning.
Yep. And be social. So networking, if you're not going to a particular breakout session, if you're not attending a certain networking event, try not to just hang out in your hotel room because you're going to meet a lot of people, like-minded people. Don't be Nick. Well, Nick's on performance all the time, so he probably has to rest at some point.
Yeah. If someone new, that is a tone. That's something that I'll say at the beginning of this expo as well. I said it last year, but if you see someone that's there clearly by themselves, they're sitting alone, I encourage people to go talk to them. So if you're planning on coming by yourself, you're not, you're worried of who am I going to interact with, just know everyone's going to be on high alert to look for people that could use some interaction that didn't come with anybody, and you're going to be well taken care of.
One of the biggest things that we are intentional about at the PCA is those fresh faces, those non-members, those people who have never interacted. Jason and I specifically, and the rest of the board members are looking for you there because we want to make an introduction. We want to make you feel at home, just like how people made me feel at home at my first expo.
I thought they made fun of you, Nick.
They absolutely.
No, that's all the other ones, not the first.
Isn't that what love is?
I thought Skaturo made fun of you and called you a hipster, and you told him you speared your own fish.
Oh no, that was actually that was Nigel.
Oh!
No, Dave was actually very friendly.
So I want to circle back to something Maggie said because I remember when I first heard it, I had no idea what people were talking about. It's a weird name, brain melt. But on the subject of networking and getting to know other painting company owners, I think it's huge. Maggie?
Yeah, listen, I have this is like a weird thing to say, but I have a special place in my heart for the brain melts because our very first expo, we did what Nick and Jason said not to. Matt and I came down, we went to the opening session, and then we were like, brain meld, whatever, we'll skip that and wait for the breakouts. And we came into the room as everyone was finished, and we were like, whoa, there's like electric energy in here. What's happening? Everyone's like sitting at tables talking about things that are important. And so like I said, it's speed dating. Yeah. So you're going to walk into the convention room after you went in the lobby and got a LaCroix and a granola bar that they provide during the break. And you're going to come back in and there's going to be little table signs with topics. And there's 50 tables in the room, and there's going to be 40 different topics on every single table. And so you'll pick a topic and you'll sit down at that table, and there will be somebody leading the conversation, and the topics are all over the board. There's tables about growth, there's tables about finances, there's tables about marketing, Google reviews, how to appropriately text with your customers, AI and using artificial intelligence. Is that what AI stands for?
It is indeed.
We could ask ChatGPT.
I still type everything. Pricing, sales process, the list could go on. Like I said, there's over 40 different topics, and you'll sit at a table for 10 minutes. You guys will have awesome conversation focused on that topic. Someone will ring a bell and you'll go to another table, and that'll just rinse and repeat. And it's just so cool because you can interact with people, hear what they're doing, hear what's working, hear what's not working. There'll be an expert at the table that can give expert advice. It's not just peer-to-peer, it's also expert-led. It's awesome. It's my favorite part, if you can't tell.
And that expert does also facilitate, so that it's not there's not a single me monster that just dominates the table. That's one of the core parts of being a good facilitator, is making sure that everybody gets involved. And so you're free to come in and just sit at the table and try and soak things out or soak things in, but that facilitator is going to try and draw you into the conversation. So that everyone gets a chance.
And then there's always, I highly recommend bringing business cards if you still use them, because more than not, you're going to sit at this table and you're going to realize that there's a super similar business to yours across the country. And you're going to want to be like, hey, let's connect, let's continue this conversation. And then you're going to be like, oh, I don't have a card. How are we going to talk? And so bring a stock, which
Bring a lot of business cards.
Yep.
Yeah, so I moderated one last year and I didn't know what it was, and it's exactly that, right? There's all these different tables. There's someone sitting there, and it's pretty intimate. What is there? Eight people, six,
less
eight
than 10. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. And what is it? 20 minutes, 30 minutes per table?
It's 10.
It's 10 minutes per table. So it seems like longer. You can stay seated at the same table.
That. Yeah.
If you really want to hammer something,
you
don't have to get up every single time. You can stay there, and then basically 7, 8, 9 more people are going to sit down. But the thing that kind of blew my mind was seeing, I'm just trying direct mail for the first time. I don't really think it worked. And, I tried direct mail. Yeah, actually here it wasn't working. And then I did this. And you just seeing that those kind of light bulbs go off from people connecting. It's a very structured networking opportunity. To me, it seemed like the most impactful activity there.
Absolutely. I agree.
What are you, so I guess all three of you, I don't know who wants to kind of take the lead on this. In past expos, and we can focus on 2022 and then just in general, what have you found to be the most popular either topics or the most popular events, or what do people tend to sort of gravitate toward and get the most out of?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we probably won't talk much about the 2021 Expo too much.
That one wasn't perfect.
But in general, I'd say in general, recently it's been around the labor shortage.
That one was virtual, by the way. I just want to note that it was virtual. That's why it wasn't perfect. It wasn't a bad expo.
Right. We didn't have an in-person expo that year. As of recent, it's been the topic around labor. I think has been the main one. The shift on millennials entering the workforce has been a topic that's been previous expos that draws a lot of interest. Maybe Nick, what's one that Nick actually gets a pretty good draw no matter what he talks on. What are some of the favorite ones that you've been to the last couple of years?
Yeah. So I'll be going hard on oil primer this year. So that'll be a crowd pleaser. You can track my arc through the expo. When I first showed up, it was just like, I have no context. I have no perspective. What is this? Who are you? I assumed everybody was single owner operator house painters who really liked old Victorian mansions all in one place. And then I met Dave Scaturo and Gina Court. And then you're like, oh, there's other versions of like being a house painter, and you can paint oil tanks and water tanks and things like that. And so originally to me, it was just like, gather it all. I'm scooping information in. And then pretty soon you start applying some of that stuff. And now different things become interesting to me as we go on, because when you seemingly solve something in business, you don't have an end of things you need to solve. More things come up. So now as we progress through professionalization from employee handbook, SOPs, basic job costing, once you get a good handle on that, the next layer of stuff comes up. And then you go back to the expo and ask those rounds of questions. So I'm coming in hot. I have my leather-bound notebook. I have 4 pages of stuff that I'm specifically looking for from other contractors, and I will corner you and I will harass you and I will try to squeeze information out from you in the kindest way possible. But that's what I'm going to be doing.
I love that. So yeah, that's a lot of what this is about. So Nick's coming in. Nick, obviously the man who knows it all, but he's coming in because he recognizes he doesn't know it all. And so he actually wants to get this information. Look at your business, right? If this is your first time, or if you're a veteran attendee, look at your business and figure out what you need help with, because there's literally everything. Everything's covered here. Fulfillment, hiring, sales and marketing. It's all there.
Or show up and we'll give you things to work on. There are things that you need to do that you don't even know exist anymore. And honestly, that's how I found out about all. I was very proud of myself before I went to my first expo. And I left that first expo thinking, I've done nothing. I have a mountain of stuff to do and a lifetime's worth of work. And 5-6 years later, we've been plowing through it and it's great.
Yeah. I want to add too, I think, for more sophisticated businesses where the owners may be less involved and the machine is running and they're like, well, what am I going to get from Expo? We've got our Google ad thing. I'm not even running it, et cetera. I think there's a huge non-curriculum component to being in a community of people who are all emotionally in the same place as you, right? So running a business is hard, and owning a business has a lot of emotions that come with it. And you're in a room full of people on that same journey with you, whether you need the nitty-gritty details about marketing or whatever it is. You might also just need the emotional support. You might just get relationships that are going to help you become a better person and business owner.
Yeah. Bad reviews, a worsening economy. You're not the only one dealing with this stuff. And I know that in expos, past expos, people have formed kind of, I'm not going to call it a support group, but a networking group, accountability group. And then they'll end up meeting monthly or weekly after that. And that's huge. I think that the painting, Nick's talked a lot about, the painting industry has been largely divided, sort of, everyone's an enemy to everyone, and you just kind of do your thing. And this is the antithesis to that. So this is, you actually get in and you work with people and you grow together. So Kaylin said that this is her first expo. She's excited for that. Kaylin, thanks for coming. We're really excited to see you there.
Make sure you track us down and say hi, because there's all sorts of people on social media that are like, this is my first, or I'll be going there. But then there's also a bunch of passive aggressive introverts like me from the upper Midwest who will show up to this and we see each other from across the room and walk separate ways. Do not do that. Coming from somebody who has done that, go up and introduce yourself to people, and specifically come find one of us and we will happily give you any context, sit down with you, have a cup of coffee, whatever you need.
I give big hugs. And Kaylin's going to get one because I know Kaylin.
Do not hug me. Do not touch me.
Oh, I will.
Same.
And you know it.
Same.
Don't touch me.
All right. So someone asked, I'm a paying participant. I'm a member of PCA. Do I need to pay for my boyfriend to participate only in the evening events? He is not participating in the daily sessions / activities.
I think you can do one-off dinners.
Yeah, there's a
for
meal.
cost. Yeah, there's like a meal only thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now these are not just meals. It's like, it's like I don't even know what's going to happen. I'll be honest. But it's
So
wild.
our dear underwriters and champion sponsors of the PCA pull out all the stops when they do these evening parties. We've had evening get-togethers at rodeos, the entire rodeo stadium. We've
You
had them on
remember the
pirate ships.
magician?
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, literally, pirate ships. You name like,
Magicians
it
walking
is-
around. What was last year? People frying.
Last year
bacon
was
with
in
this.
Disney.
Yep, it was in Disney. Yeah. So it is a professional thing. This is not us in the lobby of a Marriott at the hotel bar. This is legitimately an event. So yeah, it's good.
So another Facebook user asked, so it looks like you can pick the days you want to go. How would you guys respond to that?
I'd say, I mean, if you're going to book a flight, go the whole thing. If you're only going to go to specific days, go when Maggie's presenting on something.
Yes.
There aren't day passes, are there? Or
There might be.
okay, might be day
Might
pass.
be
So
day
if
pass.
they're
There
local-
are day
you can-
passes, yeah.
You can divide it up however you want.
I wouldn't
honestly.
recommend it, but like I said, it's a balance sheet activity, not a P&L. transaction. So you got to spend money to make money, and you just carry it forward on an accrual basis to the next year.
And, money means a lot of things to a lot of different people.
At the end of the day, it's fiat currency.
Right?
What is real? What is your truth?
Time is a circle.
Yep.
All right. So Nate Mitchell.
I'm sorry.
You guys are going for it. So Nate Mitchell, Nate and his wife Chevelle, well, they run Two Coats Painting. So he had a really good point here, which is actually kind of what kicked off this whole series. So I love his question. He said, I guess it wasn't really a question, it's a comment. So we are not coming to the expo this year because we were sloppy with the information that we obtained from the Orlando, Florida Expo. So because we didn't apply the information, we thought it wouldn't be a good idea to go until we apply the information to our business. What do you got?
Wrong.
Nope.
Wrong answer.
100% wrong.
No, I'm not going to say it's wrong, but it is wrong. It's not right or wrong.
Feelings are valid.
I would also say that's
They're just
typically
wrong.
not how accountability and motivation works. Not in typically if you're not going to work out or eat healthy, you don't abstain from being confronted with that reality. You put yourself back into the crucible, and that usually is what changes action. Now you might buck the trend and be a little countercultural in your psychology, but typically, the odds that you're going to do a course correction in the absence of being around a cohort that's going to push you harder is going to be a little bit challenging.
Yeah, we are your accountability partners, and if you duck us, we will find you.
Also, just come. I was going to say, usually I would say execution is everything. Ideas are cheap. Execution is everything. But with AI, which I think I'm going to be talking about, newsflash, it is actually the ideas that are valuable. Execution is cheap. So let's think about that.
So I have to tell my children multiple times to put their shoes in the shoe basket. And so maybe you just need to hear what you heard last year again to really execute. My oldest puts her shoes in the shoe basket now. The other ones we're still getting there. So just because you didn't implement it the first time doesn't mean it's a lost cause.
Yeah, and much better than I did.
One of our friends in the industry, Nick Lagrasso, who runs a great painting company in Missouri, literally at the end of every one of these things, he pulls everybody aside and is like, this literally gives me the fuel to do this for another year. Like, this is the shot in the arm that I need, just being around these people. So it is helpful.
So I want to dive into this from a little bit of a different perspective. And I want to segue and tie into what Nick, you said. So you said that the first time you went, you got a lifetime of information to work on. That is great, but it can also be pretty defeating. It can feel really overwhelming. Like there's no way to get it all done. And potentially Nate and Chevelle, maybe they got a little bit of information overload and maybe they thought about doing it all. And it was kind of a paralysis by analysis, or they didn't really know where to start. What do you recommend for people who are coming into this? Maybe they're a new attendee, they're fresh, and they're just going to get so much information. How do you actually execute without becoming overwhelmed?
Yeah. So here's the deal. Jason and I and the rest of the board of directors at the PCA have given you a way to solve this for yourself. So go to the expo, meet the humans, get the fire hose turned at you, and then sign up for the business accelerator, which basically with a cohort of people walks you through every step you need to do. It orders it for you in order of priority, gives you action items, and then you have a group to hold you accountable. So we knew that this was the missing thing in our industry, was that sort of like, all this information is free, but it's not really organized. It's not readily available. We have done that. But then also that expo gives you that sort of like, you get to be around inspirational people to show you what 10 levels down the road is, so that when you're going through the business accelerator, when you're professionalizing, when you're putting your business through traction, it's not this slog where you can't see the end. You can meet people who have already done that, and that is your inspiration.
Yeah, I love that. You're solving some problems, but this idea of 10 levels down the road, a lot of times you don't even know the questions you're going to have as you grow. If you're at 500,000, that's totally different from 1.5 million, right? Which is totally different from 5 million. So as you grow, especially if you're ambitious, you're going to encounter different struggles. But the good news is there are multiple people all along that journey at Expo that you can talk with.
Yeah, and we all know and love the transition curve. It's that thing where you're stupid and happy and you're riding up this wave of enjoyment, and sooner or later you get to the peak of that and you get a whole bunch of data and it starts making you sad, and you start riding that transition curve down, and at the bottom of that curve you either crash in defeat or you gather up the information, gather up the gumption, and head back up. And I will tell you, at least 3 of the 5 or 6 last expos I've been at, I've been riding that curve halfway down, and expo caught me and brought me back up like that. So job costing was a great example. You get introduced year 1. It wasn't until 2 years later till I felt I had a really good, thorough understanding of the ins and outs of job costing and could explain it to somebody and use it for something in my business. But you keep plugging away at it. It's if you hear about one thing one year and you don't get it done, guess what? You're going to do it. It's not a big deal. Just go to the expo.
Yeah, love that. Patrick Porter asked, are these sessions geared more towards business practices or tools and proper applications, or both? Are there business offering their services such as marketing or bid packages to purchase? Yeah, Patrick, I'll get you while we're there. Are there video shorts of previous expos?
First of all, I'd say we've slanted a little heavier on the business side, but you're still going to get quite a bit of practical applications, specifically in the trade show time. And then as far as shorts, yeah, we have a creative team that puts together all these little jazzy clips, and we'll probably be pushing those out in the weeks to come if they aren't out there already. I saw someone ask a question on pricing, Brandon. I just want to clarify that. He said something around like $1,200 for the full thing. If you go on site, show up the day of, and you are not a PCA member, you'll pay $1,200, and that gives you access to everything. If you are a member and you've taken advantage of the early bird pricing, it's $850, $950 if you choose not to take advantage of the early bird pricing. I would recommend becoming a PCA member. It will pay for itself on your expo discount. So first I'd become a PCA member, then I'd register to go to the expo, and yes, that would be full inclusive of the entire event.
How expensive is it to become a PCA member?
It's, again, irrelevant, Brandon. Time is a circle.
Time is a circle. I'm sorry, guys. I'm totally not
balance sheet
following
activity. I thought I explained that to you previously. This sounds exactly like the conversations I have with my CFO. Not a P&L item, but a balance sheet activity. So I don't want to hear any questions about pricing. The real answer is $1 a day plus a little bit of interest. That comes out to $3.99. But it's actually, there's negative interest because of inflation. So you're saving money by spending money.
So I want to bring up an important add-on to this question. Are there video shorts of previous expos? So if you come to this expo, this is something that was just decided by the PCA. They are going to record every single breakout session. So essentially all these events, not the brain melds, not necessarily every single table, but all the breakout sessions are going to be recorded, and you are actually going to get access to that. So one of the big things is you go to a breakout session. A breakout session is just essentially a presenter in a room, maybe 100 people, and they're covering a topic that you care about. But there might be 2 other topics happening at the same time. That's been something that's kind of that trade-off. You know, you want to know 2 or 3 things, but you can only go to one because at the same time. If you go, you are going to get recordings of all of them. So not only will you get so much information while you're there, you'll actually get even more to take home with you. So that is the first time ever doing it. I think it's a huge, huge bonus. So do come to Expo.
That changes everything.
You didn't know about that, did you, Jason? Did you know about that?
I get a lot of emails. I'll be honest. I don't read any of them.
All I know is I'm going to listen to him because Matt and I are at the same time as Nick Slavic.
Oh, weren't you in charge of scheduling that, man? How dare you?
That was the co-chair.
That might have been on purpose.
So
I don't know.
Do not be surprised if I rally my troops, march them across the hallway, and sit in on yours. I will literally, like the Pied Piper, right across that hall.
Nick's going to abandon his own presentation to support yours.
It's a panel. I'm sure the panelists will be fine without their moderator, Nick Slavic.
So Kaylin wants to ask Jason, are you leading any specific breakout sessions?
Yes, I am. It is going to be on artificial intelligence learning, all your bases belong to us, get pwned noobs.
We can just move on from that. It's okay. You don't even have to address it if you don't
I will
want to.
not
Yes.
miss that one.
On like the whole chat GPT phenomenon, obviously. So some painting contractors are now using Excel and G Sheets, which is great. That's like, welcome to the 1980s. Now there's this thing, I don't know if you've been aware of the chat GPT, which is just machine learning or artificial intelligence, but it's kind of become an easier interface for mass adoption. And so we're going to be talking about that, how you can use it in your business, specifically a painting company, to be more effective and efficient. Nick and I were playing around with it earlier this week and solving all of Nick's personal and business life issues. I have used it to write poems to my wife. That's been great. And don't tell her that. But also it has many good practical business applications. So myself and Miss Morgan Knox will be co-presenting on that topic at Expo in Albuquerque.
Okay, a Facebook user, we'll just keep going. A Facebook user who did not identify themselves asked who got the PCA scholarship. I don't think I know the answer to that. I'm not sure that's.
I would say if you haven't applied. This is something like most scholarships is going to go underutilized. I'll just tell you that right now. There's a good chance of that. We'll probably get someone from Russia that applies and just hacks our funds. So please apply. Yoke up with a paint rep, whether Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams, or other, so we know that you're a real person and have a real need. But please apply to that.
Yes.
It's a way that we like to get people involved that typically wouldn't be making it otherwise.
Yep. And we'll be posting the recording of this, and we'll be sure to include a link to apply to the scholarship. So if you haven't applied, then you can. Someone else asked, they said they're confused on the cost. You pay the registration fee, and then for each day you want to go, no, you really just pay one fee, and then you go to all the days.
If you're going to go and pick days, I would say just don't do that.
Yeah,
No,
the fee that Jason listed out covers the $850, $950, whatever, covers the whole thing, including all the parties, all your meals, all the education, the trade show. The only thing you have to take care of from there is getting there and sleeping somewhere.
So someone else said, but I feel like Tanner and Brandon are my homies. I hope to meet those guys in person sooner than later. That's awesome.
Not that great.
It's not. Maggie's met me. It's really not that great. It's all shine and
Maggie getting spicy.
Someone else asked, and I think I actually missed a comment earlier, but someone asked, when will next year's date be released? So 2024.
At Expo, and you'll only hear about it if you're at Expo. If you don't attend Expo,
otherwise
and you'll find out where it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
We might tell you where it is before, but I won't tell you the dates. You have to be at Expo if you want to hear the dates.
I was going to bring up where it is now, but we can also just not do that. You guys,
no, we can tell. We could tell people.
We can.
Where this year is.
No.
Where next year.
Where
is.
next year is.
Right?
Hold tight.
Yeah, let's just do it.
All right,
let's just do it. Nick gets scared.
Jason,
don't worry.
You're the presidente. You just go right ahead, man.
You're not the president, chair of the board. Maggie, can I do it?
I'm just
next year is going to be back by popular demand in Orlando, Florida.
Announced here first, Orlando, Florida. People loved it.
Getting a lot of tweet activity right now.
It's all Nigel. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
Guys, you brought this on yourselves.
Okay, so next year is Orlando. Orlando was last year, and this year's Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Little pip pop, called the ping pong game.
Yep. All right, another Facebook user said, this is really, really cool. Immediately applying many things from Expo last year and buying certain softwares took us from a $400,000 company to over $1 million this year. I would directly relate our success to applications from the Expo. Well, that's a nice
I just got goosebumps.
Did they mention any people in specific that really helped them at the last Expo?
Everyone except for Nick Slavic was amazing.
Knew it.
I don't know why they identified you.
Everybody but me.
It's everyone. No, they did not identify anyone. I don't know who they because it's Facebook user. StreamYard can be a little bit weird with the names. I would love a follow-up comment on that, though.
But that's a super good point that we haven't really touched on, which is what goes on with the vendors and the trade shows. And I mean, I know our company has taken a lot out of actually getting face to face with the software company or the marketing company and asking the specific questions and building that rapport and using it. I mean, we were trying out a software last year on the computers for probably a half hour at the trade show. So yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, stranger.
I very anecdotal sort of example, but I made lifelong friends with a vendor there. The people at Surf Prep, you meet them, and those people love sanders and sandpaper. They love sandpaper. And the enthusiasm is just like infectious. So when you walk by the booth, you're just like, wow, you really like this. So you sit down and talk, and next thing you know, you're like lifelong friends. And it's just
and you love sandpaper.
And I love sandpaper too. Not as much as them though.
So someone else asked, again, trying to get clear on that price. So if I paid $1,200, that would cover all of it every day.
Don't pay $1,200 though. Become a PCA member and pay less.
Yes.
And then get healthcare. So it's just kind of, I don't even want to hear these questions.
Yeah. And then you get overdrive.
What does the membership cost?
It's basically going to pretty much pay for itself with the discount. Then you get the membership.
Yes. If you were not a member and you said, I don't know what you'd say. I want to hear that.
Someone else said, and I'm interested in Jason's response here because he's been pretty opinionated about coming. Love that sentiment about getting the information over and over. I'm also guilty of not implementing a lot of info from last year. And the only reason I'm not coming again this year is because, Jason, ready? We have a baby 2 weeks beforehand.
That's limiting beliefs and head trash. 100%.
I would bring the baby. Because you're not
congratulations on your new baby.
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to be nice. I'm saying congratulations. We hope that it's healthy and everyone's happy.
You look at the demographics of the US,
in Orlando,
China. One of our strengths of the country is we do have a pretty good birth replacement rate compared to the rest of the developed world. And so you look specifically at China, they're going to go off a huge clip. Germany's already seeing it. India is a little more stable. But the U.S. is all in all, we're in pretty good shape. Obviously, we had the baby boomers. Gen X was the smallest generation ever percentage-wise. Millennials are okay. So I would just encourage births of children I would just encourage births of children. And
so what we want to say is congratulations on your new baby and hope to see you at Expo next year.
In Orlando, yes.
I'm gonna mute my mic here.
I didn't say Orlando. I'm not getting fired.
2 weeks before, that is a tough one. Yeah.
Baby gets in free.
Oh, there you go.
I will personally pay for
3 weeks. It's free.
I will personally pay for the baby to come.
Same.
It cannot attend the Sherwin event though.
It's gonna be very loud. It's up to you.
Have those little things.
Your discretion as a parent. How much do you love your industry versus your baby?
So we were just talking about this morning, and someone asked, went to my first expo last year and was amazing. I would love to take more of the team and invite other friends that have painting businesses, but there is a language barrier. Well, you guys eventually have translating.
¿Qué es la problema?
So lucky for you, I know 37 words in Czechoslovakian. So all you Czechoslovakian people, you show up and I got you.
It's got you. The issue he's talking about, Nick.
Oh, okay. I guess you didn't specify
there's a
language.
Pretty good Spanish contingent. Are we doing any sessions in Spanish this year, Maggie?
No.
Okay. We will be eventually.
We will. It's on our radar, hardcore.
Yeah. I would say there are plenty of people that I don't want to assume Spanish, but that is the majority of our industry. We would love if you attended, and we'd love to make concessions. It won't be perfect, but we'll get the ball rolling.
And we also have Spanish-speaking ambassadors with the PCA. We have a whole Spanish-speaking contingent. Mike, if you speak Portuguese, there's going to be about 46 people there that you're going to be able to converse with. So you will not be alone. I will tell you that much.
Okay, someone else asked, are breakout sessions recorded and available for later use? Going to be missing some good ones while sitting the one I choose to be at. Again, yes, they will be if you are an attendee.
Only for attendees.
You will get them all if you attend. So if you come and you have to choose the one obviously that most interests you, because you might have questions that you can directly get feedback on while you're in there. But then you will get recordings of the other ones as part of the benefit. Again, first time ever that the PCA is doing this for 2023. So that is
Don't
really
pirate. If you're not an attendee, don't pirate it. You wouldn't download a car, would you? Okay. So
don't pirate it. All right. Someone else said, getting so psyched for my first expo, and that's as a vendor. Looking forward to seeing you all in real life. Super excited to meet you too. And I want to circle back to this idea of going from 400,000 over 1 million and implementing new softwares and all this stuff. One of the coolest things, it's cool to meet the vendors, right? It's cool to actually get to know them in person and learn more about what they do in more depth. But it's a lot of times you don't even know, right? You don't even know the things that are out there in terms of automations, in terms of just some of the ways that companies are implementing their back-end systems. And then you get there and you're like, holy God, like I don't have to be loaded with that amount of work. You mean I could just use the software and it'll do it for me? So you never know what you're going to come across. Avoid JSON because it's going to get super weird, super fast. But the other softwares, aside from all the AI and circular time, it's also really impactful. Jason confuses me. I don't know what he's talking about.
that was very offensive, and I would like you to apologize.
I apologize. I offended Jason.
The jiving
all
only
right.
goes one direction, so don't sling it.
I
back.
can't. Yep. Nope. I take it. Can't give it.
Yes,
got
sir.
it.
Thank you.
People are excited about GPT. Excuse me. We have a link to the scholarship that was posted in the comments, so do check that out. It's just pcapainted.org/expo/pricing. Someone here went to Expo 2022 on a scholarship. That's good. So I want to ask a question again. I know it's a barrier for a lot of people mentally. I think it's why a lot of people don't end up coming. How big do you need to be to go to Expo? If you just started, should you go, or you don't really belong there? What's the thought?
Nick, what was your top line revenue when you first went?
I didn't track it. I couldn't tell you. I was a single person painter. I was literally the most, when you think about the Expo, if you want to talk about bits of information, bits of perspective, and takeaways per dollar, you will never get more bang for your buck than when you're a single owner operator who has done none of the things to professionalize. You will never get more out of anything. You will pay people in the future tens of thousands of dollars for coaching over years to get the same thing that you're going to get at Expo for $800.
So that's probably a good point. You probably get the most incremental value the smaller you are.
Yep.
And after that, you're chasing diminishing returns, which still have enough value. Or you just go ahead.
But Jason, but also like right now, those 6 things that I need to know can only be found at these in-person things. And they are important. They're not like, what is an SOP? That's like low-hanging fruit. Discovering what that is, doing them, and then showing them to others, getting their examples. That's a quick hit. Now, when you want to talk about inspiring a certain type of personality in your company to achieve at the greatest levels, that's something that is a very important decision. It takes a long time to discover what it is and implement, and you can only get it from some of the highest performing people here. That it's so important.
Yeah.
There's content for all sizes, literally.
Yep.
There's content for single owner operators. There's content for a team of 3, a company on the threshold of $1 million, or a company that's pushing 10 million. Commercial, residential, fine finishing, historic renovations, whatever your niche is, cabinets. There is content for any company. And my partner and I were very strategic about digging into that nobody's time is wasted and everybody is filled.
And, even for guys like Jason and I mean, we literally control about $33 million worth of home trade services in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. And there's still something for us. Don't ask me how to break that out between his business and mine, but together, even for us big guys, we have something that we can find there. So
I would also say, I think Expo is a phenomenal place to receive. It's also a place to give.
Yes.
And that's something I always encourage people is if you're new, reach out to other people. If you see someone that's obviously new, please reach out to them. But go there, get all the information you can, but also go there and give, because we all do better when we all do better. The biggest plight that we like to complain about in the industry is the bar of professionalism not being very high. It's really by supporting other people and helping other people that you can help make a big impact. So I also encourage people to go to Expo, not just for what they're going to receive, but what they can also give to others.
So Kaylin said her paint rep is helping with the cost. Never hurts to ask. Have you guys ever heard of anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, try your paint rep, try your uncle, try your grandma, try your neighbors, whoever you can get to sponsor you going to Expo would certainly be worthwhile.
Yep. Brandon Weichers just said, just saw the room rate for the hotel is only valid through tomorrow. So through January 20th, I think that there's a like a block, right? A PCA Expo.
Yeah, so you get special pricing with the PCA. So the PCA negotiates on a group rate, much like we did with health insurance if you're a PCA member, and you get a discounted rate. We also have that for the overflow hotel because, as I mentioned earlier, we're up, was it 25, 30% year to date from last year on Expo registration. So the primary hotel has been booked out. We have an overflow hotel just down the road that a lot of people are going to be staying at as well.
Yeah. And one thing you'll learn after going to a few expos is that these are beautifully designed and orchestrated, where the actual expo, the exposition, is right below on the main floor of the hotel resort complex, and your room is above. And that is the most efficient. So you don't have to Uber, taxi, bus, anything else over there. If that's filled up, there's obviously the overflow thing, but it's a good lesson to you guys, which is early bird pricing for the expo. Book your hotel rooms at the discounted rate early on. And then literally at the last expo, me and my entire team, we didn't leave the complex. We went from our rooms to Jason's presidential suite, which had 2 floors, and then back down to the expo every day. We didn't leave the complex, which is super convenient.
Too late, and I wanted to go to bed, and Nick was just whatever you were doing. Yeah, that thing. And I was trying to get to sleep. It was very frustrating. Just want to have that confrontation with you right now. I've held that for almost a year.
I hear you, Jason. I can see that you're.
I feel heard. I feel heard. So that's a good first step in mending this. But don't
expect any recourse.
So a couple people are saying they're in Tampa. Why not Nashville? It seems like there's some confusion on.
Why not Nashville?
Okay, love Nashville.
I told you guys. I told you not to do it.
Send the hate mail to my tweets. My Twitter address and handle. I'll just say in general, we try and bounce around the continental US. So you go East Coast, maybe a little middle, maybe dabble in the West if California wasn't so crazy and no one wants to be in a northern climate in the winter anyways. So you kind of dabble back and forth. Maybe in Nashville. Talk to Nick. He's going to be the future chair.
Talk to Maggie. She's in Nashville.
Nashville's a very expensive.
You know what, guys?
Stay.
I feel comfortable just saying it. 2025, we're going to.
Don't say anything. Oh,
he froze.
He froze up. That's too bad. We'll try next time. That was a good joke, Nick. I appreciate that.
Thanks, man.
So we have addressed. Okay, if you're super small and you're just starting out, it makes sense to go. If you're really big, Nick threw out the 33 million a year combined revenue. It still makes sense to go. You're still going to get something out of it. And Nick kind of already hinted at this because he talked about all the Portuguese speakers that will be there. But people have asked me, hey, do international companies go? If I'm in Australia or England or Canada, should I go to this? What's your guys' response to that?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a place where knowledge is exchanged. And a lot of the things we traffic in are not Nashville painting business, Minnesota painting business. This is business. And this is
America is the center of the world.
Of a leader.
And you're going to want to come to America to be cool. We are the world police. We are the best country in the world by far. So definitely come to our expo in the United States of America. We also like Canada, but USA is number one. It's like not even close. We are such a global superpower. It's unreal. We have a vast system of rivers that can move our goods to and fro, especially with the shale fracking that's been happening. We're very well positioned for the next couple decades. So.
Possible to mute Jason?
I'm thinking about it. Oh, there we go. He muted himself. We're set. We're golden. Yep. All right. Someone else. We already covered this, but I think we could address it again really quickly because I know it is a common thought or question. I'm interested in improving skills, but I don't want to add staff. Right. A big focus is always growing. Interested in improving skills, but don't want to add staff. Is the expo recommended for a solopreneur like me?
I would say grow your bottom line. If you're not going to grow your top line, grow your bottom line. You can definitely improve your profits, improve your quality of life. Those would be good key metrics if you didn't want to grow the top line.
Yeah, and literally the ethos of the PCA is build better contractors. What it doesn't say is build bigger contractors. And so you can basically take all these. We always talk about professionalization and all this businessy job costing and stuff like that. That is not only for big businesses. That is for all businesses. It's just that our industry doesn't readily do it because we come into this industry as craftspeople and not necessarily business owners, and we have to learn how to be business owners. So these are not things that are nice to do in business. These are things you must do if you want to make it past a few years in business and not ruin your life.
Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. You don't keep revenue. Allegiant Painting is the one. I did ask who commented that. Allegiant Painting went from 400,000 to $1 million. So congratulations, Allegiant Painting, on that progress over the last year. That's awesome. Someone else asked, I need help with all the tech stack stuff. Suppose I could get that there.
Yeah. That's like the best place to get there. And the nice thing is you'll be able to hear from multiple people, their perspectives on it. Absolutely. There was someone that mentioned that like tomorrow's the last day to register for the room block. You'll have a few days more than that, just so you know. We're used to dealing with painting contractors. We know if we say 120, a lot of people aren't going to do it. So there's like intentionally a little bit of buffer there. So don't like freak out if you remember on Saturday. You'll still be able to get the room block. I'm not going to tell you what the actual date is, because then you will actually procrastinate until it's too late. But you do have a little bit of time to still get in there.
Yeah, like Jason said, we know our core demo, and a surprising amount of people wander in from the street on the first day and register and go in. And it's like, we're happy to have you, but it's
nothing wrong with that. Happy to.
Yeah, we love it.
Yep.
There's accommodations for everybody.
People asked, how do you apply for the scholarship? It looks like you go to that link and you write a paragraph stating why you're deserving of a scholarship, and then a recommendation email from a manufacturer's representative certifying that your company is good standing and deserving of a scholarship. So a couple steps, not too difficult for the potential benefit that you gain there. Someone else asked, is it mainly owners that go, or do they bring one of their crew?
Nick, how many people are you bringing?
Let's see. We're bringing 6 people. We're bringing my entire leadership team. And the year previous, one of my painters won Craftsman of the Year, and I brought him and his family too.
Maggie, I know you're bringing a bunch of your team.
Yep, we've got 6 coming.
Yep.
Everything from the owners to our accounting manager to project managers, salespeople. Anyone that doesn't pick up a paintbrush for us specifically is going.
Yep. We're bringing
Jason,
our full team. I don't even know. I mean, you would probably know better than I would. Let's round up to 10. Let's round up and say it's 10. But I think to that, whoever said that question, you're going to be just fire hosed with so much information. The first thing you're going to want to do when you get back is try and translate that to your team. And this will help save you that step. You can get on the same page, especially if you have some key people in your organization. Go shoulder to shoulder through the expo, and then be really ready to attack the business right after together.
Yeah. And so one of the weird things that I've experienced from other people when they get back and guys like me are just fired up like, oh, I have so many fantastic ideas for you guys. Just sit back. This is going to be great. And meanwhile, everybody's like, dude, you were gone for a week and you came back and you're just like, you don't blink. Like, what's going on here? Having some of those people at the expo to be similarly inspired like you, now there's context when you go back to your business and they all understand, they all have that feeling, and you don't need to impart that in them when you come back. So again, it's great to bring as many people as you have, but do what you can. It's important that you're there.
So Jason got a lot of love here. A lot of people are very excited to meet Jason in person now. So that's cool.
Give him a hug. Give him a big hug.
Make sure
do not touch me. I'll just make that very clear. Do not hug me.
I'm seeing the comments and I'm not seeing any of that.
Tons of love. Thank
you, Nick.
Another comment, software is huge, makes a big difference for everyone. It's a couple above that one. There's 2. Software is huge, makes a big difference. So kind of tying into that software and learning things that you didn't know existed. If you meet the vendors, right, and you actually learn about these softwares, but also the brain melts is really where it comes into play. Because you say, oh, it's so frustrating trying to schedule, or I'm growing, but I can't like keep all the customers, organized and things like that. And that's where you get a lot of that key data is from how other companies are already doing it.
Absolutely.
Brad Ellison said, hypothetically, Brad, hello, runs Ellison Painting. very successful painting company out of Detroit. He said, hypothetically, if I'm not a painter, what type of clothes should I bring for the Paint It Forward event on the 21st?
Hypothetically, there's a chance that I asked my husband that same question. I don't know.
Maybe like some jeans.
Jeans.
I would definitely go to your paint manufacturer and get the painting bibs. They're great to wear outside of painting too. I'll just say that right now. They're very comfortable. Nick knows this. They have pockets on the top like this. And so you can store snacks in there when you get hungry and just eat them very easily. So get the bibs. You're going to use them more than just painting. Use them for lounging around the house. It's pretty cool if you're trying to go to church, go to the club in your bibs. And, you know, what do the kids say these days? They just razzmatads, you know?
Whatever.
Exactly what the kids say.
Dang it. I was looking this up the other day and my source did not get back to me. Gucci turns.
Listen,
Get real Gucci turns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my kids go to public school. I got a fire hose of the latest. It's lit, it's fire, it's dope. Slay. I'm all over it, man. I'm
okay. So in response to Brad's question, I know one of my first expos, I was like confused what the dress code was. Like I was like, is this like a businessy thing where everybody's going to be wearing businessy clothes, or is this a casual thing? And then you have these, you know, this invitation to these vendor events at night, and you're like, again, am I supposed to wear like black tie optional, or are we just still in our pajamas? So to distract from your Urban Dictionary conversation, it is definitely a very broad range of attire. There's people that come in their painting jeans and their company t-shirt. There's people who come in their I'm going to sell a paint job outfits, and everybody smiles and hugs each other when they meet, and nobody is too concerned as long as you are clothed and bathed and there to represent and learn. And the same thing goes for the events. If you want to get dressed up and have fun, great. I don't think a bow tie or anything that significant is necessary, but
not also, yeah, it's not wrong.
I was going to say, but you do you, and I can guarantee you'll be loved no matter what.
For shoes, I'll just say for shoes at the Paint It Forward event, you probably want to get some Up Dog shoes.
Jason, what's up?
What's up, dog?
Not much. What's up with you?
Don't do this, guys. Don't do that.
So someone else said, my business after Expo 2022 did 6 times the revenue than we had done the year before Expo. So that's really exciting. Someone asked Jason where the Overflow Hotel is. Looks like it's in Albuquerque, like Marriott.
Everybody's asking Jason the logistics now. Jason, when I get there, where do I park?
Just email Jason. Yep. They also asked if there's a shuttle. Is there a shuttle that's going to be running between the Overflow Hotel and the Expo? Do you guys know?
Yes, Jason's all over this. He'll get back to you, no problem. Yep. There's a super helpful staff at the PCA. Like literally, I know you guys are asking these and people are actually like putting links, which is awesome, but there is an insanely helpful half of the staff at the PCA. Even my company, when we tried to register 6 people in there were some things we just wanted to make sure got done. We talked to the staff 15 minutes later, we're in. They couldn't be more helpful.
Someone else said all they really care about is running smoother without the headaches. I think that's huge. Better contractors, not necessarily bigger.
Yep. Yeah. As I always say, slow is smooth and smooth is fast, you know?
Fast.
So I want to see if I can pull anything out of Maggie. Yeah. So we obviously you've been planning everything. So again, it's if it's a success, kudos to you. If it's not, it was the co-chair. So are you able to divulge any of the topics from, let's say, the brain melts or any of the breakout sessions, so people can actually hear, as opposed to, well, we're going to cover everything. They can actually maybe hear some of these specific topics.
Totally. Am I wrong that those were published, the topics?
100% might be. I fly by the seat of my pants. So
no, you're good. I was just pulling it up. If you go to the PCA website under Expo and Schedule, it has the schedule, which lists the breakout sessions. So it has Tuesday, the Paint It Forward. Also on Tuesday, there's a blueprint reading class. I've seen a lot of chatter lately on the Facebook groups about learning to read blueprints. And everyone who's attended this is awesome. That is not included in the core Expo registration, but I think PCA is sending out information on that. So Wednesday, what we did this year, I think you can go to the PCA website and read the details. The big thing that we did this year, the feedback was everybody loved everything last year. And that's not an exaggeration. I didn't plan it last year. I have no dog in the fight. That was literally the feedback from everyone. The negative feedback was they felt like they were drinking from a fire hose and they couldn't get a handle on the information. So the big thing that we did on the education committee is we took the days and tried to theme them, not like Mardi Gras theme, but the first day is a marketing theme. So the majority of the topics on the first day are about marketing and selling. That will allow you to just stay in that brain set that day. So just thinking about that category. The second day, we have the trade show in the afternoon, but in the morning, aside from Jason's robot thing, the content is a little bit more about the self and like the journey of the business owner and developing yourself as a person, and really taking care of yourself and where you are in that journey as a business owner. And then on Friday, the focus is more operational production. Okay, we've marketed it. We figured out how to sell it. We figured out how to keep ourselves as business owners emotionally afloat. Now, how do we get the ball rolling and how do we make this crank? And so we've really tried to make it so that instead of feeling like you went from a marketing session to a how do I grow my business session to a session about commercial, there's a lot of focus. So all the attendees should be able to kind of focus on one thing for one day throughout all the content, which I think I know is unique to Expo and hopefully will be an awesome way for y'all to learn.
So Maggie, someone asked, is there a list of the vendors that are coming? Is that included online as well?
Ooh,
I know
don't
once the app is available, it should
I
be
think
on
we have to
that.
wait for the app for that. Yep.
Yeah.
I think somebody posted a link about some information about the vendors as well too here. So.
Oh, sweet.
Okay, perfect.
Oh,
And
trade
I
show.
see it.
Yeah, it's on the
Yep.
website, the trade show
Okay.
link, and it's got the map for all the vendors.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So you can see where the actual trade show is happening and then where every vendor is. So another thing that's kind of interesting that's happening this year is this idea of focus groups. So it's actually during the trade show. These are occurring. Maggie, do you want to kind of explain maybe what those are for people?
Maggie doesn't know what those are.
Maggie doesn't know. Jason, Nick, you guys know?
Focus group is where you get a group of people to really, focus. And the purpose of this, I'd say this is your chance. Obviously, there'll be like big manufacturers or vendors that want to get some intel on what direction they should be heading. And it guides some of their strategic decisions for the next year or 3-year picture. And as a PCA Expo attendee, you're kind of one of the influencers, one of the top, that they're going to be curious to hear your thoughts. And so your insight, your preferences, your desires could help mold and shape the strategic directions that some of these vendors take over the next year or 3-year pictures.
Yeah, if you want to talk about influencing an industry, I was part of a focus group from Purdy maybe 4 years ago where they started talking about they really were curious about how we carried our tools around and stuff. And then 3 years later, magically, the Purdy painters boxes showed up. So it's really cool to be like, that was it.
Yeah.
we had influence on our own industry, and these vendors care about the craftspeople of this industry, and they're actually seeking advice so we can shape the future of it, which is super cool.
For whatever reason, first place my head goes is you could get 4 or 5 people together and just meme it and set a company up, tell Purdy something just ridiculous and really have a good joke of it. But don't do that, obviously. Be honest.
I think that's
it would
the
be
cool
funny
thing.
for a moment, but then a lot of people would lose their jobs.
The more that I've gotten involved with the PCA, the more I've realized that the vendors and the partners that they or vendors that they partner up with are exactly what Nick said, companies that care about what they're doing, whether it's sandpaper or brushes, and then care about who they're doing it for. And so if you have the opportunity to do a focus group, don't be like Maggie a couple of years ago where you didn't go because I don't know what I was doing. But I think it's super great. And people like Brandon, who have a business that is there to serve us, need to hear from us what's going well and what would they want help with.
Yep.
And I think it's so easy to kind of discount how unique the painting industry is if you've been in it your whole life. Most industries aren't like this, right? Like you can't actually go and just hang out with Jason Paris and Nick Slavic and Maggie Kuiper and these top hitters in the industry and just get all this information. You can't go into a focus group and impact the entire industry. You're not going to do that in roofing. You're not going to do that in HVAC. You're not going to do that as a dentist. But painting is as Jason always kind of talks about it hasn't yet reached its renaissance. It's professionalizing. There's an opportunity for you to step in and get essentially on the forefront of a wave here. And that's huge. That's exciting.
It's a special time. It's a very special time.
Yeah. I want to, Nick, you probably don't have this written out. So it's kind of a weird question, but I got to imagine people are listening to you and you're saying you have 4 pages of topics of stuff you're hoping to get out of this expo. And I know if I heard you say that, I'm thinking, what can Nick possibly need from the expo, having gone so many years and run the business he runs? Would you be willing to share some of the things you're hoping to achieve?
Yeah. So first off, how dare you know how to flatter me? I do appreciate that. You know what's really funny here on my computer monitor setup with multi-monitors that I completely came up by myself. I had no influence from, people like Jason Paris for that. But on here, I have Google Keep, and I actually have the very first set of notes that I kept from an expo when a painter who is very near and dear to my heart pulled me aside and for 4 hours just told me, here's some books, here's some things, think about this. I still have these. I'm still working on it. The thing for me, the unsolvable thing that I really need a lot of stuff on is, of course, perspective of leaders, how to lead, and then not only just how to lead and hold accountable. There's the whole LMA, lead, manage, and accountable, but then inspire. And what I go there for is sort of this almost intangible thing. This is one of those 6 things, but one of them is like this intangible thing of like, I want to see how Matt Kuiper talks about his business, and how he talks about his business and the words he uses give me so much perspective about what a good leader does. And when Jason brings his whole team, you're looking at people revving at the highest possible speed in our industry. What they talk about, how they talk about it, who they talk about it to is so interesting for me. And that's things you can only get at the expo. There are also things about like, the next level of when you talk about financial stuff, you start at the bottom with job costing, and then you start adding some things. And pretty soon you're into cash flow projections, and then you're into like budgeting for your business. So now that you walk up that pyramid of financials, you start getting into the more sophisticated things, and then you start looking for examples of those. So there's a couple clinical quick hitters that are good, but then there's that stuff that you're not gonna learn how Matt Kuiper and Maggie Kuiper lead a business from a Zoom call. They could tell you, and you could understand those words. It is completely different than standing in a hallway for an hour talking to them about it. That's what I'm there for.
Yeah, I love that. There's also, to everyone who's listening and who's, again, they've never been to an expo and they're not really sure if they're quite there yet. There's this idea that you are like the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? And there's a professional kind of tangent to that. Surround yourself with great companies and great business owners, and you're likely to start to gravitate that way yourself. This is the top of the top of the painting industry. So if you run a painting company and you care and you want to not necessarily grow, if you want to grow, yes, but if you want to just make it better, right? Improve your profit margins and make your life easier. I don't understand why you wouldn't go. It doesn't make any sense.
Beautifully said, Brandon.
Yeah, it's thinking like a business owner, right? And whether or not that maybe, there's that debate, a painter versus business owner, are they the same thing or different? I personally feel that there are sometimes a little bit different. But if you're thinking like a business owner, this is your ROI. This is where you get it. I'd love to, Nick, you have something?
Oh, I was just going to say, like, somebody had posted on Facebook, like, why go to this? It's like, here's the deal. You're going to get a whole bunch of just stuff. There's apps, there's software, there's job costing, there's things, but you will think about yourself, your business, and everything you do differently after this. I can guarantee you, you're going to walk away changed. I have every single time, and it never stops. Every single time I walk away thinking about what we do differently and being inspired.
Love it. So I'd love to get from each of you some advice in terms of what to make sure that you do. So when you go to Expo, and this applies to people who have been before as well as new people, what do you need to make sure that you do? And what mistakes, I guess, have you seen people make where maybe they went and they didn't capitalize on it the way that they could have? So what should you do and what should you be sure not to do?
I have an answer, and I think it's the same for both. Don't worry about other people while you're there. Don't worry about the size of another company or what specific part of painting they're in, or how many people they seem to know in a room, or how fancy their up shoes are. Whatever it is, don't worry about other people. And then on the flip side, that's the same thing, right? So like be focused on gleaning and growing, and just knowing that it's a community. Dude, I'm a girl. I went to high school. I know drama inside and out, and I know I know how this works. Our human nature is to get in a room full of people and think people are, judging and comparing and doing all these things. And that's just so not the case at Expo, like at all. So don't forget your name tag in your room, because you need it to get into places. And then don't think other people are out to get you. This is the most welcoming group of people you could ever meet.
I just double down on that. I don't know if anything new to say.
And I will say, be prepared to make lifelong friends. You think you're coming here to get some apps and to get shaken down by Brandon and the other marketers to hold you upside down and shake nickels out of you and stuff. But you know what, though? I mean, they're actually good guys. But you're going to make lifelong friends. You're going to make such meaningful relationships. All these people that I know in the industry are from stuff like this in person. We never would have these connections. I can personally call upon the biggest thought leaders in the industry because we have a base of trust and a friendship. And when I need that thing that you can only get from somebody doing what you're doing, but better, and you have a personal connection, I can call upon them. Those relationships were all forged at these.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. There's this idea of abundance versus a scarcity mindset, right? And scarcity is worried about the competitors and what they're doing. Are they taking market share? Jason has his Sherwin-Williams, although maybe that was, I don't know. I don't know who originated that now at this point. I've gotten conflicting information, whether it's Jason or Nick, but there's the idea of doing the math. But Jason, I feel like somebody told me that.
You think Nick came up with as a numbers guy?
I'm data king, baby.
He's the data king.
All right. So yeah, it was from somebody, but the idea, do you guys want to say it? One of you guys
So in residential
whoever
repaint,
came up with it.
as Nick always says, in residential repaint, hyper fragmented market. As he always says, your competition is only how well can you execute your business model, right? It's not, you're not competing with market share of other painting contractors. Good litmus test or sniff test on this is how many gallons of paint are you buying a year? And how many gallons of paint is your local Sherwin-Williams selling a year, right? Now, how many gallons of paint are all the Sherwin-Williams selling in the area that you are willing to drive to service? And then what percentage of the market do those Sherwin-Williams stores have as compared to like the PPG, the Benjamin Moores, the Bears, et cetera, right? It's a small number, right? You extrapolate those out. There's a whole math thing on there. I put up a video 4 or 5 years ago on YouTube. After
You've probably seen an Ask a Painter live show. I mean, it's very informative stuff out there. So,
Nick actually deleted the Ask a Painter live show where I did this with him.
Did not. I just blocked you from it. That's okay.
Okay.
Anyway, so Brandon, I know you're bringing this to a close, and you know what you know what you were getting into. You know we like to rough you marketers up a little bit, but you do this very well. You lead these conversations very well, and we thank you.
One thing he does well.
Can I finish my sentence or like what are we?
Up dog.
What's up, dog?
Do I just hit the red X right now? Or
matter
right now?
Matter,
right now. Do I hit the red X, Jason, right now? Oh, I was giving Brandon a compliment. You rightfully cut me off. And Brandon, you must be used to this by now, right?
Hold on. Yep. Oh, I appreciate the attempt. That was very nice of you. Yeah. So the abundance versus scarcity mindset. So even if you find yourself trapped in that scarcity mindset, it's an easy thing to think, you understand it, but it still can be scary, right? A lot of business owners operate with fear, especially when you look into an uncertain economy. There's uncertainty. Business ownership is inherently risky. One of the really cool things, even if you're kind of trapped in there, you're not 100% sure how to get out. A lot of these people aren't in your market. You meet the best company owners all across the country. So you don't have to be afraid to talk to them. If they're in another state, you can tell them what you're doing. They can tell you what they're doing, and you can still benefit, right? As opposed to locally, if you are kind of trapped in that mindset, it might be a little bit more difficult. Someone else said going to PCA and being shoulder to shoulder with all these industry leaders in an intimate setting like PCA is awe-inspiring. I think that idea of intimate is really important because there are a fair amount of people coming, right? Almost 1,000. A lot of these conferences and these other industries might be 100,000 people, right? Concrete coating or something like that. Really, really big. This is intimate. You get to know these people really well. Anyone want to? I do want to. So I came up with a question that I want to ask all of you, and maybe get some feedback here. What if somebody goes into this and they really want a mentor, right? They're going there and they know, man, I would really love to not just meet people and get ideas and stuff like that, but I would really love to kind of almost hitch on to someone. Maybe someone can kind of take me under their wing a little bit. What do you probably you three can't do it for everybody. What would you say to them if they wanted that?
I'd say there's a highly likelihood that you'll achieve that by doing something like this, right? So I can't make any guarantees. I also won't say that you can't achieve that within your own geographical niche or your personal network. But if you're looking to seek a mentor in the painting industry, this is a great place to go. Not just because of who goes and the high performance and everyone's growth minded, but there are people that literally will stay involved with the PCA primarily out of a desire to give. And just be aware that there are givers, there are takers. Those who give oftentimes receive the most. So there's a catch-22 there. But yeah, I would ask ChatGPT what a good strategy would be on that. And the answer is PCA Expo, right? If it's wrong, then we got to look at the source code on that.
All right. So someone said, I am going to go ahead and plug that we are having a second episode of this where we're actually going to deep dive into a question that was just asked. So someone asked, as an estimator, which presentation should I make sure to sit in on? So we're going to actually dive deeper, not just, hey, here's the list, here's where you can find what's happening. We're going to actually explore it. So we're going to say, hey, these are the breakout sessions. This is what's likely to be covered. These are the brain melds. This is what we're likely to cover. So in this episode, part 1 of the PCA Expo 2023 game plan, we really covered Expo in general, right? Who should be there, how to make sure you capitalize on it, what to expect, what to do and not to do. In this next one, we're actually going to get really nitty gritty with it. Obviously, the recordings will be available. Now you guys know that, which is a huge plus, first time ever. But it's still nothing like being there in person. And so you still have to decide if there's 3 breakout sessions, you can only be at 1. And if you're there, then you can ask questions live and you can really engage in a way you can't on the recording. So we'll take a deep dive into that, into your position, your company, your location, kind of in your business and life journey, and what you should be game planning, right? Kind of road mapping, what this whole thing's titled. Do you guys have anything else that you want to add before we wrap this session up?
This is a balance sheet activity, not a P&L transaction. So I don't want to hear any pushback from the financial budgeting people because you have to spend money to make money. Okay. This is an investment. Carry that accrual forward, and it's a capital expense. It's not even a capital expense. It's a capital investment.
All right. Nick, Maggie?
No, listen, again, you're going to see a through line through this thing, which is there's some very inspirational things us as visionaries, integrators, and leaders can only get at things like these. And sometimes you don't even know you need it until you get there. So I would tell you, even if it's not this year, just show up once. I have never heard a person walk away saying,
Yeah, love that.
Yeah. If not Albuquerque, then
the unnamed 2025 location.
Orlando 2024. Let's make a promise.
We either have
The
standards or
unnamed,
not. We either have rules or
Operations
not.
will
We're
fulfill
living in a
it.
lawless country. Everything is going into anarchy and entropy, and it's fine.
But the
Everything's
dates are not revealed yet.
Everything's great.
You will only get told the dates if you attend Expo this year.
It's the only way you'll ever know. It's not going to ever be public.
That's
Yeah.
not
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate your time. You guys selflessly and gracefully gave for this. We will be posting the recording. It will come out through the PCA Overdrive. We'll be posting the Facebook group. Thank you for everyone who attended. Hopefully you were able to get your questions answered and learn something. You can always, as a reminder, in the Painter Marketing Mastermind Podcast Forum on Facebook, you can tag Nick, you can tag Maggie, you can tag Jason, and you can ask them questions directly, and they should respond. So thank you, everyone, and look forward
Nick
to.
never puts down his phone, even to talk to his wife at dinner. So
It's just always right in front of him.
I live in
right
the woods. I live in the woods, and I spear fish on a frozen lake.
texting.
We will be having the second episode.
And he posts it when he does it. Sorry, Brandon.
No, you're good. You're
He's
good.
trying to give the conclusion, and we're just having our own conversation. Yeah.
I love it.
Brandon,
No,
what's
yours
wrong
is
with
more-
your hair? Why does it look so bright?
Jason? I hate that you did that. Jason
sorry.
and I were logged in about 15 minutes before this, and I have a whole new setup, the new camera, and my hair is pixelated, and it was driving me absolutely insane. I spent the 15 minutes changing shirts, hats, you name it, and it didn't work. So there you go. Pixelated hair.
It's really
always
Brandon, you are a handsome dude. Your wife helped you, and you guys are awesome. Stop picking on him. You
I
guys are mean.
found
Thank you,
You
man.
guys are bullies.
They are bullied. Thank
pull
you.
out
It
the
really-
insecurities of each other.
It's hurting my eyes. I need like some blue light glasses or something. I don't know what's going on here.
To
But it's
distract
really
from
big.
the
It's
rest
hurting
of
my
it.
eyes that I can't register where Nick's face is because he's got so many pictures of himself on his walls. I can't. My eyes are like jittering.
Never hug a porcupine.
It was a gift from a country. It was a gift from a country, Jason. Thanks for bringing that up.
Very
All right,
humbling.
we are going to wrap this thing up.
Please.
Thank you guys for participating, and we'll see everyone in about 2 weeks on this. If you want to learn more about the topics we discussed in this podcast and how you can use them to grow your painting business, visit paintermarketingpros.com/podcast for free training, as well as the ability to schedule a personalized strategy session for your painting company. Again, that URL is paintermarketingpros.com/podcast. Hey there, painting company owners. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give us your feedback. Let us know how we did. And also, if you're interested in taking your painting business to the next level, make sure you visit the Painter Marketing Pros website at paintermarketingpros.com to learn more about our services. You can also reach out to me directly by emailing me at brandon@paintermarketingpros.com, and I can give you personalized advice on growing your painting business. Until next time, keep growing.